Now, Diddy, I introduced you as
Yes.
Sean Diddy Combs, but you've changed your name to Love. So
Yes.
where does that fit into the name?
Love is love.
So you're P. Diddy, also known as Sean Combs. And things were going really well for you in 2023. You're worth nearly $1 billion, you had one of the longest running, most successful rap careers of all time, you just performed at the 50th anniversary of the Hip Hop Festival, you were releasing a new album that everyone thought was gonna blow up, you were even being awarded with the ceremonial key to New York City for all the great things you had done in the music industry and beyond. You had it all, the money, the fame, the legacy. But then came November 16, 2023.
Disturbing allegations against Sean Diddy Combs.
Sean Diddy Combs, accused of sexting and assault in a lawsuit.
Sean Diddy Combs has been accused of beating his ex-girlfriend.
Singer Cassandra Ventura, who goes by the stage name Cassie, files a lawsuit against you in federal court accusing you of sex trafficking, human trafficking, sexual battery, assault, gender-motivated violence, and much more over the course of her 10-year relationship with you. She was throwing some serious allegations your way, and she went into graphic detail. Cassie said that as an emerging artist, she was obviously enticed by you. Being that you're a world-famous rapper and music producer, you had all the keys to the kingdom that she so desperately desired. The pair met when she was 19 and Diddy was in his late 30s, but the romance quickly dissolved into something much more sinister. She said that once she was sucked into Diddy's world, she became trapped. For the next decade, she said she was forced to use drugs and was forced to perform acts with male sex workers for Diddy's amusement. She alleged that Diddy was abusive in other ways too, once kicking her in the face. Not only was a powerful music tycoon Cassie's boyfriend, but he was also her boss, which meant that he had complete control over her life. And he promised to destroy her music career or worse if she ever tried to speak out against him. Cassie was scared for her life. She even claimed that Diddy threatened to blow up her new boyfriend Kid Cudi.
He allegedly beat her, threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car.
And coincidentally, Kid Cudi's car later did explode.
The filing then says shortly after Diddy's threat, Kid Cudi's car actually blew up.
The story was also confirmed by a spokesperson for Kid Cudi. In response, Diddy's lawyer said that Cassie was just another gold digger looking to score a payday from the hip-hop billionaire. And it wasn't long before Cassie and Diddy settled the court case for an unknown amount of money. Now, to be clear, just because you settle a case doesn't mean you're guilty. Most rich people settle fraudulent lawsuits all the time just to get on with their lives. And for Diddy, he probably thought that this would be the end of it.
Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
But unfortunately for him, that's not what happened this time. Nope. See, Cassie had just opened up a giant can of worms that not even Diddy could shut. Soon, new people were coming forward every single week accusing Diddy of everything from sketchy behavior to straight up assault.
A woman claims the rapper drugged in New York City back in 1991.
Yeah, the allegations are absolutely horrific. She says she was 17, she was only in 11th grade at the time.
First, a woman named Joy Dickerson Neal said that she was drugged and R-worded by Diddy in 1991. Then another woman named Lisa Gardner spoke out about an incident that happened to her in 1990. She claimed that she was hanging out with Diddy one night when he coerced her into sleeping with him. Then out of nowhere, he started choking her out until she passed out. This doesn't look good, but maybe these women were lying too. Maybe Diddy could convince the public that she was lying. But the fourth allegation, not even Diddy could sweep that one under the rug. Another girl going by Jane Doe said that back in 2003 when she was still in high school at just 17 years old, Diddy flew her out on a private jet to New York. And like any other young girl, she was excited to meet a famous rapper like him and to fly on a PJ. But when she got on that jet, it was a nightmare. She said that she was given large amounts of alcohol and drugs before Diddy and two of his friends took advantage of her. She spent the next 2 decades struggling with what happened that night. But when she saw Cassie and the other women come forward with their experiences with Diddy, she knew she had to do the same. Even though the ordeal happened decades earlier, she still had photos from that night of her sitting on Diddy's lap. Now things were serious. Now P. Diddy was being accused of assaulting 4 different women including a minor, which meant that he was screwed. That's when the rapper decided that he wasn't just gonna sit back and let people speak about him like this. So he made a little Instagram post denying everything. But this was not gonna be resolved with a simple social media post. No, it was too late for that. No, now Diddy had much more people snooping into his life, and what they found was absolutely disturbing.
Diddy's home in Los Angeles has been raided.
As they move in to detain 2 of Combs' adult sons. Sources telling ABC News it is connected to a human trafficking investigation. He was accused of and gang among other allegations.
This runs deep and is much bigger than Diddy. The entire music industry could be exposed very soon, and you are not gonna believe what they're hiding. Stay dangerous, and this is how P. Diddy almost got away with it, allegedly. But you want to know what's worse in the music industry? Paying up to 89% more for shipping when you could have used today's sponsor ShipStation. If you've got a business where you ship products to customers, using ShipStation will hook you up with the best shipping rates out there, with up to 89% off from top carriers like UPS, USPS, and DHL Express. And ShipStation also makes your life way easier by automating most of your manual shipping work. Joe Rogan's brand on it and over 130,000 other companies all use ShipStation for a reason. And if you want to get started, signing up for a free trial takes less than 5 minutes with the link below. You can find the lowest shipping rate for every package and save these shipping options for future orders. You can apply your own branding to your order emails, packing slips, branded tracking pages, and branded return portals. You can cut hours out of your day's work with scan-based workflows, bulk printing labels in batches of up to 500, along with their multi-package and split shipment supports. And on top of that, you can keep track of everything from in-transit shipments, end-of-day forms, you can schedule carrier pickups, and much more. And the best part is that you can give all of this a try for free for 2 months when you go to shipstation.com/JakeTran. Just create an account, connect your merchant account like Shopify, Amazon, Etsy, eBay, and many more, and that's it. Now you can ship stuff quicker with way less headache. So get your 60-day free trial by going to shipstation.com/JakeTran with the link below. Today, Diddy is one of the most powerful figures in the entire music industry. But how did he get there? Let's go back to the beginning. Sean Combs was born on November 4th, 1969 in New York City, and his life did not start out very glamorous. His father, Melvin Combs, was involved in the local drug trade, and he was murdered when Diddy was just 3 years old. From then on, he was raised by a single mother, Janice, near the Bronx. Despite his early challenges, he still went on to go to college at Howard University, where he majored in business administration. And even back then, he was showing signs of being an impressive entrepreneur. While he was still in school, he started organizing weekly dance parties, and he even started an airport shuttle business. Soon he realized that he was just wasting his time in class when he could be out there hustling. So he dropped out of college and took an internship at Uptown Records. He quickly impressed the label and became a paid talent director, and that was only the beginning. Diddy rose through the ranks of Uptown Records until he became the vice president and ended up producing some of the label's biggest artists ever. And by the 90s, he wanted a change of pace. He built up a successful career working for someone else, but now he wanted to be the one in charge. So in 1993, he founded the infamous Bad Bay Entertainments.
Yeah, this is the headquarters right here, kid.
Here I am, you're on TV Raps, we up in this piece. Yeah. This is it, Bad Boy Entertainment.
Bad Boy Entertainment, no doubt.
Cool.
And soon he was working with some of the biggest names in rap, hip-hop, and R&B at the time. We're talking Mariah Carey, Biggie Smalls, TLC, Lil' Kim, Aretha Franklin, Boyz II Men. They were all under Bad Boy. And only 3 years after kicking off his own label, he was named Songwriter of the Year. By 1997, Bad Boy Entertainment has sold $100 million worth of records. Everything was going better than Diddy's wildest dreams. Until...
a star in the often brutal world of gangster rap has been gunned down. This time it was Notorious B.I.G.
After he lost one of his closest friends and colleagues, Diddy got serious about becoming a major hip-hop artist himself. And the biggest hit of his career was inspired by losing Biggie. It was called I'll Be Missing You. This track took his career to new heights. His first album sold over 3 million copies in the US, and before the turn of the century, he was awarded with 2 Grammys, one for Best Rap Performance by a Duo and one for Best Rap Album. Diddy finally had it all: fortune, fame. He practically ran the entire hip-hop industry. But the truth was, even back then, Diddy was no angel. And he was getting away with some really sketchy stuff from the very beginning. December 28, 1991. Diddy is well on his way to becoming a household name when he decided to try out a new marketing tool. He helped organize a celebrity basketball game at City College in New York, where him and other hip-hop artists like Heavy D would perform. But what was supposed to be a fun event quickly turned deadly. Even though there were a bunch of cops and security personnel there, attendees managed to overpower them and rush the building. Way more people pushed through than the school's gym could hold, and it turned into a full-blown stampede. Diddy's event left 9 dead and 29 injured. After an investigation into the disaster, a report called a failure of responsibility was put out by the New York City's mayor office. It blamed Diddy for hiring cheap, inexperienced security, which led to the deadly incidents. And he spent the next decade settling lawsuits from families of the 9 people who died in the stampede. But many of them never forgave Diddy, like Jason Swain, whose 20-year-old brother was crushed to death in the tragedy. Quote, "I believe in karma," Jason said. Quote, "He never really owned up to anything. He never told us he was sorry. Whatever is going on with him now, I guess it was meant to be. But me, I lost everything that day. I lost my big brother, I lost my best friend," end quotes. While the whole thing did cost him a lot of money, Diddy pretty much got off scot-free after effectively being responsible for the deaths of 9 people. Pretty crazy. And that was far from the first time he got in trouble in his early career. 1998. Diddy and 2 of his bodyguards busted into the office of a record executive named Steve Stouts. Diddy was apparently upset that he sent a music video to MTV that included a scene where he was crucified like Jesus. Without saying a word, the three proceeded to brutally beat Steve up to a pulp. Quote, he punched me in the face, and then he grabbed the phone and bashed me in the head with it. 1 minute I'm in the middle of a meeting, and the next minute I'm down on the floor, and P. Diddy and his guys are kicking and pounding me. One of them breaks up a chair and throws it at me, then P. Diddy throws my desk over, and they just walk out like nothing happened, end quotes. If this kind of behavior is allowed to go unpenalized, it will be like an invitation for extortion in the music business, end quotes. And Diddy was actually arrested on felony assault charges this time around, but he only ended up serving 1 day of anger management for felony assault, which is supposed to get you a mandatory sentence of 2 years in jail and at least 5 years of probation in the state of New York. 1999. By this point, Diddy is well beyond a millionaire and a huge celebrity. He's spending the evening at a Manhattan nightclub with his then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and a guy signed to his label named Jamal Shine Barrow. The story goes that Diddy knocked a drink out of a guy's hand, an argument ignited, and in the heat of the moment, everyone started drawing their guns, and then 3 people were shot. Diddy and J-Lo quickly left the club, but then were pulled over after they ran a red lights. The cops found 2 9mm guns in the car, and Diddy was booked for weapons charges because he tried to bribe his driver to say that the guns belonged to him instead. Witnesses at the club said that they both saw Diddy and his friend Shine shoot their guns during the scuffle. And while Shine was brought to justice and sentenced to a decade in prison, Diddy was completely acquitted. Once again, he got away without a single consequence after allegedly taking part in a major crime. Quote, he escaped a lot because of who he was, said an NYPD officer who worked on the 1999 nightclub shooting case. Quote, now a lot of stuff is just coming back to him, end quotes. Diddy can't escape anymore. His past was coming back to haunt him. For decades, everyone knew Diddy was an explosive guy with a violent temper, but nobody could have guessed how dark his world actually was. All these allegations against Diddy did not look good, but he did have one thing working in his favor. They were all from a long time ago. But then in February 2024, something happened that showed Diddy is still up to his old tricks to this day.
Giovanna, in a 79-page lawsuit filed by a music producer who claims to have worked with and lived with Sean Combs for a period of time, alleges there were underage girls, hidden cameras, and sexual harassment at his home, all of which Combs denies.
Things were getting serious. Now one of his music producers on his latest album, Lil Rod, was serving Diddy with a $30 million lawsuit saying that he had witnessed and been subjected to some disgusting things during his job. According to the lawsuit, while he was working with Diddy, he lived with him at his home for months at a time, so he had a front row seat to everything that was going on behind closed doors. He claimed that Diddy was constantly sexually harassing him and touching him without his permission while they were working together. When he complained to his chief of staff on the project, he was told that quote, Sean will be Sean, end quotes, and nothing ever changed. Diddy also allegedly pressured Lil Rod into engaging in sexual acts with another producer on the album. Diddy promised that if he did that, he would win a Grammy for Producer of the Year. The lawsuit also claims that Diddy showed him videos of other famous people in the industry in compromising situations. He believed the footage came from cameras hidden throughout Diddy's home. Quote, Mr. Combs' Diddy possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. Due to this treasure trove of evidence that he has in his possession, Mr. Combs believes that he is above the law and is untouchable, end quotes. The court filing added, quote, Diddy has recordings of several celebrities, artists, music label executives, and athletes engaging in illegal activity, and that these individuals were recorded without their knowledge and consent, end quotes. That sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? Lil Rod also says he witnessed Diddy provide lace strings to minors and sex workers. Diddy's lawyer responded to the $30 million lawsuit saying that, quote, we have overwhelming, indisputable proof that his claims are complete lies, end quotes. But it was too late for that. The damage of the allegations had already been done, and everyone started talking. These claims were not from the 90s anymore. Lil Rod insisted that all this stuff happened just last year, and on top of that, how Homeland Security raided Diddy's homes just a month later, and things are not looking good. Homeland Security does not typically raid homes willy-nilly, by the way. One former federal prosecutor explained that, quote, the fact that they are taking this aggressive step tells me that they have cooperative victims and they're moving quickly to make a case, end quotes. And what they think Diddy has been doing behind closed doors is terrifying. Picture this. You're a young struggling music artist who's waiting for your big break in the music industry. And just when it seems all hopeless, you get connected to one of the most successful musicians in the game, P. Diddy. And it actually seems like he's interested in you. He even offers to fly you out to his multi-million-dollar mansion in his private jet so you guys can get to know each other more better or maybe even work on a track. so you take the opportunity and go. But once you get there, it's clear that there is a very different vibe going on. It's a whole party, and a weird one.
Oh, shit! Oh, did the camera catch that? Got the camera!
Middle-aged Diddy is there with lots of other powerful figures in the industry, and they're pumping you full of drinks. It isn't until after you finish the drinks that you realize that there might have been more in there than just alcohol, and that's when the unthinkable happens. After the encounter, you're stuck. Diddy isn't just rich, he isn't just successful, he's basically in control of the hip-hop industry. You couldn't even imagine going up against someone like him. He's just too powerful. And this is what allegedly happened to a ton of young girls, even some that were underage when Diddy invited them over to his parties. It started with 1 or 2 allegations, but then it started looking like Diddy was operating a full-blown sex trafficking ring. And some of the most recognizable names in music were attending the parties where it all went down. That coupled with Little Rod's claims that Diddy was recording everyone the entire time painted a pretty dark picture of what he was doing.
In a 79-page lawsuit filed by a music producer,
the music producer is accusing hip-hop mogul of him.
Claims made by Jones include hidden cameras in the rap mogul's home. Alleges there were underage girls, hidden cameras, and his home.
He wasn't just running this operation all on his own. No way. He had a whole team working with him. Meet Brendan Paul. He seems like your average everyday 25-year-old from Ohio, just a recent college graduate who played basketball at Syracuse University. There didn't seem to be anything suspicious or special about him. After graduating, Brendan decided to try his hand at making music beats on his computer. And within the year, somehow, someway, this random guy with no connections gets linked up with the world-famous rapper P. Diddy. Even though he had no experience in producing, he was apparently given a job to work on Diddy's latest album, basically right out of college. All of a sudden, Brendan was posting everywhere with his new billionaire rapper best friend. It was weird and made no sense. Why would Diddy ever hire this guy? He could have anyone he wants working with him. Why would he pick this unqualified nobody? How would they even meet? What could Brendan Paul from Ohio ever do for the legendary Diddy? Well, on March 25, 2024, it became very clear what he was doing for the rapper.
Miami-Dade police arrested the 25-year-old at the Miami airport as he was about to board a private jet with Sean Diddy Combs. Officers were working with Homeland Security when they found cocaine and marijuana-laced candy in Paul's bag, both felonies in Florida.
Brendan was Diddy's drug mule and supplier, and he was absolutely perfect for the job. Think about it, no one was suspecting a random kid in their 20s to be carrying copious amounts of drugs for a billionaire rapper. There was no reason for them to know each other, so he was the perfect person to be Diddy's drug mule. Brendan also may be the person that gets him all his illegal guns, according to Little Rod. And he wasn't the only person on Diddy's payroll for questionable job titles. There were others like Fahim Muhammad. Fahim was known as Diddy's head of security, but apparently he was doing way more than just that. Little Rod said that Fahim had the power to make people and problems disappear, end quotes. Fahim is what we call a fixer. He was the guy who could help him and his associates deal with any legal issues.
All right, so within those docs, and this is where it gets relevant, there is one man that is named as being the person that can do the cleanups, right? This is the guy that you are supposed to call if you get into any sort of a scenario.
Fahim even allegedly got Diddy and his son off for a shooting they committed.
Upon information and belief, this is regarding the shooting that took place at Chalice Recording Studios. Again, he is alleging that Diddy and his son shot someone. And after that shooting, the documents say explicitly that Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was shot at the recording studio. The LAPD was in the recording studio and witnessed the blood in the restroom, and they went with the bogus claim that the shooting of G occurred outside of the studio. This was all thanks to Mr. Muhammad's connections within law enforcement.
Here was another guy you wouldn't necessarily expect to see with someone like Diddy, but who was allegedly helping him out with quite a bit. And whatever he was doing for Diddy, he was making a fortune with it. He even gave his 13-year-old son 40 acres of land in the very expensive county of San Diego as a birthday present.
40 acres of land in San Diego County. That's what one dad gave his son for his 13th birthday.
He posted about it on social media and their story went viral. Rapper Sean Combs even posted about it.
And those were only a couple of the associates that were named in the lawsuits. There were dozens of people who allegedly participated in Diddy's crime ring in some way, shape, or form. This was bigger than anyone could have imagined. And so the public started digging into Diddy's past even more. And if you think it couldn't get any worse, oh boy, are you sadly mistaken. Diddy has gotten away with so much stuff for so long that he probably felt invincible. He got so comfortable with showing his true colors that he even made a habit of showing his life online.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just picked and designed the orb. It's So I'm gonna be like kind of showing and putting out content to kind of show like the work that I do to inspire some of you guys.
But for the first
Or hold your breath. Hold my breath.
That's what I did. No, they're crazy.
Welcome to the set. This is where the big Hollywood movie stars such as your dad comes to work.
Diddy was not shy on the internet at all. His digital footprint went back well over a decade. And now that everyone knew he was being investigated for all this bad stuff, all these videos were coming back to haunt him. Clips started being uncovered of Diddy doing and saying very shady things. First, people recalled how odd his relationship with teenage Justin Bieber was.
As soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you rock this every time you And then when you get 18, you get the house.
Diddy was over 40 years old, and he was just casually hanging out with the 15-year-old.
Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives.
The vibes were just off. Then another video came to light.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. You never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
It's 555.
Yes. Okay.
5555.
Okay.
That was shot about a year or so later. People noticed that young Justin Bieber looked noticeably uncomfortable by the whole introduction. Many thought it was inappropriate for an adult man like this to be talking to a teenager like that. And Justin Bieber was not the first underage musician that Diddy had an odd relationship with. Another very popular artist also spent a lot of time with him during his formative years.
He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album.
When Usher was just 13 years old, he went to live with Diddy in New York for a year. He was apparently there to learn about the music world, but ended up seeing a lot more than he bargained for.
I moved to New York City. And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
And your parents were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige, they didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time, you know what I mean?
You ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
Diddy definitely had a history of getting involved in the lives of young music artists. But he was a producer after all. Maybe he was just trying to build professional connections with these guys. Maybe it was all harmless. And sure, that could have been a valid argument for his questionable interactions with Justin Bieber and Usher, but then this way more recent clip from 2020 surfaced. And it definitely couldn't be explained away that easily.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Barone.
Eva Barone Combs? Yes, it's breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child.
A little girl named Ava Barone was only 13 years old at the time this video was made. Once again, there was something really unsettling about the video. After all, she's surrounded by a bunch of older men and looks kinda uneasy the whole time. The girl jumped to Diddy's defense on social media after the allegations against him started surfacing by changing her bio in support of the rapper. But that didn't necessarily help his case either. And there hasn't really been any follow-up about the girl either. The internet is going wild with speculations about whether Ava herself had been a victim of trafficking, but nothing is confirmed as of now. And oh, would you look at that? This girl looks an awful like a missing child from Texas named Ava Baldwin. And it didn't take long before people started drawing parallels between Diddy and Jepstein. As more and more allegations about Diddy came out, the public started getting flashbacks, because this whole thing was eerily similar to our good old pal Jeffrey Epstein.
Breaking news, billionaire Jeffrey Epstein.
Billionaire Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
It turns out that these two billionaires had a lot more in common than just their bank accounts. Let's break down the similarities. Number 1. Diddy and Jepstein were both titans of their industry. Jepstein was deep in the business and political world, who had the most powerful connections, and Diddy was at the top of the music industry and had the most powerful connections in that world. both these guys had the capital and network to do pretty much anything they wanted, and they knew it. Which is why, number 2, they both got off for serious crimes multiple times. Epstein was given an unprecedented plea deal by former Attorney General Alex Acosta. You can watch our video on that on our other channel here. And Diddy also got off with a lot of severe crimes that would have gotten anybody else a fat prison sentence. And what they were accused of is strangely similar as well. Number 3, they were both allegedly getting young girls to their residencies and then doing horrible things to them or trafficking them out to their influential friends. Epstein was arrested for transporting underage girls to his residencies and having inappropriate parties with them, and Diddy is basically accused of doing the exact same thing. Number 4, both were apparently obsessed with secretly recording everyone who came to their gatherings. One witness claimed that Epstein had compromising tastes of people like Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton, and according to the lawsuit filed against Diddy, Diddy is also very fond of secretly taping his guests. There were hundreds of hidden cameras found all in his homes. Number 5, they both had a close female partner. One of the strangest parallels between the two is that they both worked very closely with a female associate who was believed to have been key in helping them commit their crimes. For Epstein, it was of course Ghislaine Maxwell. And as it turns out, Diddy had a woman who was potentially assisting him in a similar way, Christine Coram.
Little Rob describes someone named Christine Coram. As I describe her, think about Ghislaine Maxwell. Coram required all employees, from the butler to the chef to the housekeepers, to walk around with a black Prada pouch or fanny pack filled with cocaine, ecstasy, and other drugs. Coram ordered sex workers for Mr. Combs. Coram also sent Mr. Jones to solicit sex workers for Mr. Combs. When the sex workers arrived at Mr. Combs' residence, defendant Coram would negotiate their price and would take them aside and pay them. So she sort of is alleged to have kind of set everything up the way that Ghislaine was alleged to set things up, or Jeffrey Epstein.
But one of the biggest similarities of them all? Number 6, their operations were a well-known secret. People around him knew that Epstein was up to some really sketchy stuff. He even got arrested twice before he really went down, so it wasn't confidential info. And it's the same for Diddy. Other celebrities have been warning the public about him for years.
There have been rumors like this for years, for decades, about this kind of behavior from him.
In December 2022, O'Day said she was fired from Danity Kane in 2008 because she wasn't willing to do what was expected of her, not talent-wise, but in other areas. She said she wasn't the only girl that was in those types of positions.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need to know. You here, get your notes.
Thank you.
You have all those people at your house. And we were just talking on Hot Topics about Alyssa Milano and her business manager stealing $10 million. And I saw the list. I know you're tight. We don't have to go into it, but I'll brag on you in my mind. We talked about it. Rich. Very wealthy.
Oh, hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
That was Combs and NBA legend LeBron James.
Did you party with Diddy a lot? Oh, no, not really. I would go to the party and leave early. Why wouldn't you stay late? I go to the party and leave early. I'm sorry. I don't know what goes on after hours, but
he wasn't trying to find
out. I wasn't trying to find out.
They be having these big ass mansion parties, and the mansion party, the whole mansion is a party, and then it's a separate party in the little rooms. I ain't been famous that goddamn long. I'm excited that a motherfucker be at the mansion party. You be looking at all the goddamn rooms, and you around and look in the wrong room and shit.
And this could end up being even worse than the Epstein case by the time everything comes out. Because according to Homeland Security investigators, all the stuff we went over so far is only the beginning. Even though Diddy hasn't officially been arrested yet, he is getting ready.
From a legal standpoint, Aswad says Diddy is likely prepared for a showdown.
I would say he has just about the strongest possible legal team representing him, and frankly, he can afford it.
He has almost $1 billion to throw at this problem, and he's doing everything he can. Diddy has already lawyered up with the best legal team money can buy, and he even hired a fancy lawyer named Jeffrey Lichman to represent his son. He's known for defending guys like El Chapo and John Gotti Jr. So now Diddy is waiting just like the rest of us, anticipating what is going to happen next. And it could be only a matter of time before Homeland Security brings the hammer down on him if they're already raiding his homes.
law enforcement had enough to get the search warrant. They maybe even have enough to get an indictment, and if so, I expect Diddy to be arrested in a matter of days and no more than weeks.
So Diddy is feeling the heat. Sources even claim that he headed for the Caribbean in his private jet after the raids went down, but it was never confirmed that he was actually trying to escape. If it comes out that he did commit these crimes, and he actually goes down for it, he could be going away for a very long time.
These are mandatory minimum sentences, 10 or 15 year sentences. So you know how the feds work. They already got those witnesses lined up, and I'm telling you, it's just a matter of days before an indictment is unsealed and Diddy and others are arrested.
He will not go against the dying of the light. He is going to fight. And I think that it's going to be a test to see if corruption is real, because I think that he has a lot of information on some pretty powerful people.
So what do you think? Do you think Diddy actually did these things? Do you think it's overblown? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this topic interesting, then you probably heard of the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect is where everyone seems to have misremembered things about the past. Like how everyone thinks Darth Vader said, "Luke, I am your father," in that famous scene, when in reality, he actually said, "No, I am your father." Or how the Fruit of the Loom logo seems to have mysteriously shed its cornucopia, or how in the movie Snow White, the Wicked Queen's famous line was transformed from "mirror, mirror on the wall" to "magic mirror on the wall." People typically say that the Mandela effect is because we just collectively misremember stuff, or because we've entered into a parallel universe. But what if I told you the Mandela effect was actually a carefully orchestrated government psyop? Well, that is what we explore in this new video on this new channel called Operation Red Hands that you can watch right now by clicking the card on the screen. This is a new channel created by one of my students. It's a great fun video that really gets you thinking. So click the card on the screen to watch now, and don't forget to subscribe.